make sure everyone on Facebook knows that somebody pissed me off today. And I say this with love and compassion, because there's definitely been times in my life in the past where I was just angry, and I felt everyone needed to know why I was angry. And it really wasn't great for me. It actually made me feel sick. I felt less energy. I feel like I attracted more people that were angry and they were rageful, negative. And so as I started to see that shift and I could heal, like, let's say one of the best examples I can think of for myself personally was when my dad committed suicide. That was a hard one. That was a really hard situation for me. And it was an amazing part of my spiritual growth and my spiritual awakening. Now I can see that. But at the time, it was a butt kicker. And as I dealt with that and as I moved through the anger of that, I could see now where I'm at, looking back, that suffering I chose was definitely optional. And that suffering drew different kinds of people into my world, drew different kinds of experiences into my world, because I was in this heavy energy. And so that's what I'm talking about when we're putting out a frequency. So I put out a frequency that was heavy and painful and anger, and I drew in different energies connected to that frequency. So now the difference in my life now is that I focus on the love and the good and the joy, no matter what's happening out there. And this is a big test for a lot of people, because some of us, when we're really lonely and we're really empty, we can be very ambitious and we can go out there and be very busy bees, but we don't feel good about ourselves, and it will wear a soul out. It'll wear your human physical form down. And so it'll start to create cellular disruption, which will manifest into disease or sickness, cancer, stroke, heart attack. All these different things that we draw into our physical body are started with the very thoughts we think, the words we speak, the actions we take is who we become. So let's say somebody's been really enraged for a long time and they have a lot of unforgiveness in their heart center. They're just pissed off all the time, and they don't trust anybody because someone did them wrong, and so they're always angry and they're always guarded in their heart. This could be someone down the line. Enough of that energy and enough of that guardedness starts to take a toll on the physical heart, and a person will start having heart problems, maybe some dysfunction in the heart at first that leads to heart attack. Let's say somebody's been in anger and they're just spewing toxic words and fiery venom, on Facebook or to their families, or just writing letters or texting their ex-friend, and they're pissed off all the time. If they're in that energy long enough, it will start to create a dysfunctional connection in the cellular body, and then the cellular body will start to turn on itself, and this is how diseases like cancer are created. So there's times where I can look at just how the inner and the outer reflect each other. So if someone has cancer internally, let's say in some part of their body they're going through that sickness, that dis-ease, if they look outside in their movie, there is something reflective outside that they need to address that could actually bring inner alignment. So let's say a person, because breast cancer is a big one that everyone's always talking about, and I see a lot of women that they're overgiving, they're overdoing. They constantly feel like they have to give at the cost of themselves. They never think about themselves. They don't take good care of themselves. So they're always giving to others. They're putting themselves last. They don't have any time left over. They start to get heavy. They gain weight. They have less self-esteem, less self-worth. Then they're kind of resentful and they're angry at all the people that are healthy around them. And eventually, this can take a toll. And then we see women that get breast cancer. And a lot of times these women are overgivers in their families, but they're not really having good boundaries. They're not really being great at delegating tasks to others. They may not have a lot of self-love for themselves and feel like self-worth. And so the nurturing energy of the breast, which represents that life-giving, nurturing center, become toxified. And so think of how many people on this planet have that, and it's all different walks of life, all different ages. Men can get it, women can get it. It's really connected to that nurturing center, and are we loving ourselves? And if we're not, and we're harboring anger and resentment long enough, it will start to turn inward, and the physical body will have a reaction. So maybe that helps you guys if you're, open to that. All the things that we're going through on the external world, there internally is where we have the power. So if I feel like, I'm not liking something out here in my movie, I don't like my job or my relationship with myself, the solution is always to tune inward first and to tune into what's going on inside. This is why I'm so passionate about teaching yoga and teaching yoga teacher trainings, helping teach classes on meditation, because coming to that place of meditation and deep inward focus, inner stillness, is how you start to reconnect with your source. This is how you start to remember that everything you desire, everything you want out there starts within. So if I want to manifest a dream job, I need to go inward first and be clear on what matters to me, what my soul mission is. What is it that makes me feel joyous? What do I love to do? How would I love to serve? But if I'm not in that alignment, then what I'll do is I'll just frantically and fearfully create for my ego, and I'll just go and quickly look for any job. I'll do anything for money. And I hear people say this. So, I'm just saying things that I observe. But people say, I'll just do anything for money. I'll do anything if I can make this money. And they do anything. And then they are resisting, and they're frustrated, and they're angry and resentful. And then that doesn't seem to work out for them. So then now they're looking for anything else they could do. And what I encourage you to do is to tune inward and start to be quiet and be still and know that you are God. Know that you are a powerful creator, powerful creatress, and that you absolutely are creating, just like I said in the channeling from the angels, what they said is you're all creating, you're all so powerful, but some of you are creating a life of complete lack and fear and revenge and backstabbing, and some of you are selling your souls to get something externally without the alignment of what matters to you most. And I don't encourage you to do that. You will definitely learn something from it. But the more gentle, loving, fulfilling path is to come inside, to remember who you are, what matters most to you, how may I serve, and then working with the universe, working with the light, and trusting that as you see and feel abundance inside, and as you celebrate all the abundance you see around you, you start to powerfully draw it in like a magnet. You start to create what you want instead of what you don't want. And the beauty of when we have things come to us that we don't want is that it helps us to know what we do want. So if let's say you're working at a job and people just treat you crappily, you haven't gotten a raise, no one really respects you, they don't honor you, see that, start to really see, okay, wow, look what I've created. This sucks, and I'm ready to create something new. So send love to that situation, love yourself, and go inward and start to visualize, what is it I really want? Then go and take action towards that. Thank the universe for bringing in helpers that are loving instead of that are backstabbing. Thank the universe for bringing in clients who are honoring and who pay you on time and who pay you in full and don't try to take advantage of you, instead of focusing anymore on the people that do those things. Let those people drop away. There's plenty of them on the planet, but there's plenty of these people that will show you honor as well. And so it's all about what you're focusing on. If I'm focusing on the lack long enough, I'm putting out a frequency of lack, and the universe responds to that, period. If I'm focused on abundance, even though I don't have abundance today, but I really would love to, and I hold that focus long enough, and I keep getting excited for when that's coming, it will come to me. It has to. Like a magnet, I will draw that in. And all I need to do is hold my focal point and keep my patience in that process of creation. And this is where most humans actually are missing the mark, is that so many, they feel like they know they don't like this, but they really want this. So they don't want A, but they want B. But what they'll do is they'll talk about they want B, and they'll spend maybe 10 minutes talking about that. And then they'll go right back into the fear and the anger and the resentment of why they have A. And in their silent thoughts, they'll just feel like, man, I'll never get away from A. I'll always have to have A. And they make a story. And that story starts to really become the glue that holds them to that situation. So now, if we don't need to create a story and we realize that this whole world is an illusionary world where we're creating, if we're not too attached to it, and that's what Spirit teaches me all the time, is that so many humans are too attached to their reality. So they're always focused on what's right here, and they think that's it. So we start to focus on limitation, we will experience limitation. Yeah. So people like Einstein that we're always saying, to focus on the infinite, to focus on the source energy, and that the greatest gift is our imagination. It's not our intellect. It's not what we already know. What we already know, we know, and we've got it figured out. It's expansion. So if I'm only caught up in what I know and I'm solidly attached to that, I won't allow anything new to come in. So I'll give you an example. I had a client recently calling in and sharing that she wanted to understand more of laws of attraction. She was wanting to do better at manifesting what she wanted in her life. But there was a level of her that was very attached to what she knew, even though what she was experiencing was not fun and she didn't like it, but that's what she knew. So it feels comfortable to cling to that. So what I was challenging her with was, you may not be experiencing angels. You may not have any experiences yet to speak of that you feel the angels have come in, or any spiritual experiences that you can share, but it doesn't mean that they're not available to you. And she's like, well, I'm not really tuned into the angels. And I said, I believe you on that. And so what it is that it's not that angels don't exist. It's just, are you all tuning into them? Or are you tuning into just what you know? So if you've been taught a lot of Bible stories your whole life, and they're about fearful things like, ooh, I can't talk to that girl Tanya because she's reading angel cards and doing angel tarot, and in my religion they said that's evil and that's bad and that could be voodoo, and so I'm going to cling to this story even though I'm really suffering. I feel really freaked out. I keep praying to this God that I don't know even exists, but I'm hoping it does. But I'm not willing to open myself enough to listen to someone who could bring another perspective that could actually bring me out of this hell that I've created. And so that's what I'm trying to help you guys see, is be open to releasing your story. Be open to releasing your attachment to your reality. If you're living in an apartment and you're barely paying the rent today, and you don't have a whole lot of extra money for groceries, and you're smoking all the time and you really wish you didn't smoke, that's your reality right now, but it isn't got to be a reality next month, and it doesn't take long to shift. So if you're in that situation and you're like, man, I could be taking better care of myself, I could be using my money in more efficient ways, I'll show you. There are people that all the time, they will tell me, if they'll meet me and they're like, I'd like to work with you, but your prices are kind of high and I just don't know if I can afford it. But then they're going to go to the store later and they're going to buy cigarettes for $10 for a pack and take that into their bodies, and it's actually poisoning their lungs and taking away their life force. I look at that logically and I'm just like, basically what you're showing me is when you take your money and you go invest in poison to put in your body, you don't really have a desire for health and wellness. That's one of the first things we got to look at is, what am I investing my abundance into? If I have abundance and I go and spend it on vodka, or I go and spend it on cigarettes, or I go and spend it on pornography, or eating out all the time, buying a bunch of clothes so people think I'm cooler, whatever it is that we're putting our money and energy into, part of it is looking at what you're valuing. Because I see people all the time that say they can't afford to come to a yoga class, which is $25 for 2 hours, $25, 2 hours. But I will see them getting their hair dyed once a month for $130. I'll see them getting their fake nails done. And so I'm saying this not to be disrespectful about, physical beauty, because it's okay to want to pamper ourselves and have physical beauty. But if we're in a place where we're suffering and we're not feeling like we're really having an abundant inner life, it's going to matter. Like who you are on the inside, you can't do anything amazing on the outside if the inside's all messed up. I can't remember the exact song, but I was listening to Lauryn Hill when I was going to the beach last week, and it was so cool because in the Lauryn Hill song, she's like, basically, if you're messed up inside, it doesn't matter what you have outside. You can sell your soul to become famous. You can sell your soul to become CEO of a corporation. Sell your soul